Hello, everyone. I'm Yelena. I'm Cognos Analytics Administrator, and also I'm going to be running two Cognos Help sessions. Our first session is tonight. Uh, the volume of the material to be covered is high, so you will need to watch the recording of this session more than once. Trust me, you will need to watch the recording or portions of this recording more than once, okay? So, here is the agenda. I'm going to show you how to access Cognos Analytics. I'm going to show you how to get started, including interface navigation. We'll talk about the data sets versus data module. We'll talk about data preparation and exploration. And of course, the video playlist and your questions and answers. Okay, so let's get started. Uh, Everybody says Cognos Analytics. What is Cognos Analytics? Well, it's a self-intuitive web-based interface where the data is uploaded and it analyzes the data to support some decisions, right? So it's going to extract useful insights about the data in natural language for you. It supports data exploration without writing any R or Python code. And you just drag and drop data in the canvas and you're going to get the visualizations. And based on the visualizations you're currently looking at, it might suggest you some other visualizations that you might want to look at. You're going to be building interactive dashboards and stories, which we'll cover in the next session. Then you can check what data is being visualized, and in general, Cognos support reporting, which is not covered in this course, but just know it's possible. All right. So, very important. You're going to have a password and login. Do not attempt to change your password. If you attempt to change your password, when you report any issues, me or technical assistant Mike for this course, both of us won't be able to log into your account to troubleshoot any issues that you may report, right? So me or Mike, we should be able to log in as you and see what's going on. So please do not attempt to change the password. And also, if you do change the password, if you forget that password, the system does not allow me to reset. So please don't forget your password. Don't reset your password. Don't change it. Keep it as is, okay? Please do not connect to employer network or whatever it is, VPN, because some employers might block the connection to the lab, okay? So please use your personal PC. Avoid using browser back button. Keep in mind that deletions cannot be undone. If you delete the data source, right, then everything that uses the data as a source will become invalid permanently. There is no way to fix, all right? So try to use your personal laptop and always save your work. And please start working on assignment early. And then before you log out, you want to close all files that you have opened. This is important, okay? Make sure you close the files that you have opened before you log out, all right? Now, how do you access Cognos Analytics? Well, you go to your classroom, right? And I'm gonna go to your classroom. I'm gonna be logged in as a learner, right? So I go to the classroom. You have a course content. In the course content, what you will do is you're going to expand this session where it says virtual lab environment. You click on virtual lab access. You're going to click on this shortcut, okay? What that will do is it's going to take you to Cognos login screen. And here, please pay undivided attention here. All of you have university username. This is not your email. It's not your full email, but it's a portion of your email. So all of you have this email that ends with student.umgc.edu, right? How do you log into the Leo? You're using the full email, right? But for Cognos, you're going to use the first part of the email. Like, for example, if my email was msmith@studentumgc.edu, my Cognos login is msmith. Simple, right? What is a password? Well, password must contain a number and it must contain a special character. So what I did was, this is how you remember, I took the word welcome, I capitalized the first letter, then it must contain a number. So what I did was I replaced letter E with number 3. If you look at your keyboard, number 3 is right above letter E, right? And then I put like welcome and I put an exclamation point at the end. So this is everybody's password. Very easy, right? So remember, this is not your Leo password. Okay, this is not your full email. It's only for part of the email, and password is welcome. Okay, so just please do yourself a favor and remember it. Now, what's gonna happen next? You log in, it's gonna take you to what's called the welcome page. This is a welcome page, right? And the account that I'm using for this demo has the same permissions as your student account. So when you start, right, what you're gonna see is this is a starting welcome page. You have an assistant that you can use here and ask questions about the data, and it's gonna search the data that you have access to. Then what you also have over here, you're gonna see what you recently accessed. At the moment, I did not access anything recently, right? Then here is your main menu. What you will see is this takes you to the home page. You're already at the home page. New, this is what you could use to create new data modules, new data exploration, etc. Right? In general, this one takes you to content. And here, recent is going to show you what you had recently opened. So we're going to start, we're going to go to content. What do we see in here? My content are my files. Only I can access it. My classmate cannot access it, right? It's an area that's only for you, all right? Team content, it has several things in there. Some files that you see are pre-installed, like a calendar, samples, template, this is pre-installed with a software installation. But there is a very important folder called Data for Data 605 assignments. That folder is something I set up for you, and I uploaded the data that you're going to use for assignments. But to use the data for assignments, you will need to make a copy of that data to my content, okay? Because your access to that folder is read-only, right? So what you're gonna do, take a look at this. You're gonna click here and you will see 3 subfolders. The first subfolder contains the data that you need to use for quiz and for the next assignment. Here are assignments unit 3 through 5, and this is 6 through 8, right? So here you're gonna click here to open the folder and you see this file called insurance.csv. What you'll need to do is this. You're gonna click here to open actions menu. Then you're gonna select copy to, all right? And where you're gonna copy to, not team content, but you're gonna select here my content. You select my content and click on copy. All right, all good? So what is this here? Over here, it shows you the location in the folder where I am at. So I'm in the team content. This is a folder, data for data 605 assignments, and I am inside the quiz subfolder, right? So I'm gonna go back to team content. There is one more folder here, walkthrough data. So I'm gonna be using the data today, different data for the demo. And if you want to follow along as you're watching the recording, it's possible. You would need to go here and copy the data, okay? Okay? Uh, you cannot copy the file to physical computer. I'm sorry about that. Sorry, but you can analyze data here. There is no way to download it, sorry. Unless you're gonna go to the data source. For some of them I specified in the comments, I specified the source and you can download, but not all. Sorry, but this one is a walkthrough data. If you want to follow along, you're gonna do the same thing as I just did with the other one. You're gonna copy it to your personal folder, okay? That's the data, and I'll talk to you shortly that we're gonna use today for the demo. But as you see now, this is in my content. This is a file that I just copied, right? So this file is called insurance.csv, and the work that you'll be doing, you'll be working straight from this file, right? For the first couple assignments, you're not creating the data module, you're creating data exploration straight from this file, all right? And if you see here, there are some menus you can view details about the data, right? And you can delete and you can do a lot of stuff. But please remember, if I created a lot of data explorations from this file as a source, if I delete this file, all my exploration are going to be permanently invalid. They'll be broken. I cannot fix it. Even if I upload the file with the same name again, that's it, okay? Now let's go back to the slides. So I showed you, I spelled it out, the contents of the page, all right? That's a menu, all right? So, and I talked about the content, but you can also create the subfolder and you can filter out, like for example, if you want to see only explorations, there is this option. At the moment, it's not gonna make sense to show you because I don't have any explorations, right? Now, I showed you here how to access the data preloaded for your assignment, right? So now you should be ready to start. After this class, you should be able to log in and should be able to get started with your first quiz, right? With your first assignment. I showed you how to copy the data, right? This one is straightforward so far, but this is the data that we're going to be working with today. The data is for the insurance claim. It's tracking the customer information, including customer ID, the state where the customer is in, whether the customer is employed or not, gender, etc., income. It also tracks the information about the vehicle that the customer drives, the type of insurance that the customer has, type of accident, and then we use that information to estimate the total claim amount. But take a look at it here. Note that some of the values in the data are missing. See that? Those are missing values. That's important. We're going to talk about this tonight. How these values are represented and what we need to do to handle these values, right? We're going to talk about. But see this? Note that the values are empty, right? No. Okay. Now, I mentioned that for your first couple assignments, you're going to be using going straight from data set. What is data set? It's just the CSV or Excel file that was uploaded. You cannot customize the data directly. You cannot define the calculation in the data set directly, right? You cannot preview it. You cannot just, you cannot do anything. You cannot customize it. But sometimes maybe there are some calculations that we want to add, or maybe some filters that we want to apply to all data explorations, all dashboards, and all stories that we create from certain data, right? So, but if I don't feel like applying, and if I don't feel like creating the same calculation over and over and over, right? What you need to do is you need to create the data module, and uh, you want to add all your calculations, apply the filters into the data module, right? So, and you can preview the data directly. In general, it is possible to combine multiple data modules. We're not going to do that in this course, but that's something for you to explore after the course, right? So, but for both of them, once the data deleted, everything where the data is used as a source becomes invalid. In fact, when you create a data module, if you delete the data set that was used to create the data module, your data module becomes invalid, and all of the files where you use the data module as a source become invalid. So if you don't remember anything what I said tonight, remember that be careful with deletion, okay? Now, so how do we create a data module? I'm going to start straight from data module. How do we do that? See, this is my claims and weather data. I'm going to click on the actions menu and I'm going to select what create a data module. Let's see what's going to happen. So over here, I have the list of columns, right? So what is this? Claims and weather data. This is a data set that is used as a source for my data module. And in here, I have all my columns, right? I just showed you the screenshot of Excel file. Those are the columns, except the first one. The first one was not in a spreadsheet. Why? Because the first column is called the row ID, and it's a hidden column, right? It's an internal, if you will. Each row has an ID. Then I have the customer, I have a country, but notice that each column has a different icon. An icon tells us the column data type, all right? How do I preview data? I'm gonna click here and I'll make sure that I have a grid selected. And here I can see the first few rows in my data. But do you remember that the data has some missing values? Missing value is represented as null, all right? In Cognos, missing values shows null, N-U-L-L, okay? It means that the value is just not, it's missing, all right? Uh, row ID column is hidden, it's grayed out. If I look at the column properties, see, like I can right click and I can check the column properties, you're gonna see that it's hidden, right? Properties. Oops. Sometimes I have to be a little bit patient with these properties. Oh, I see what's happening. It's opening up in this panel here. Do you see this? Row ID, and I can select, I can hide and show from users. See that? Like this? It's not hidden, or like this? It's gonna be hidden from users. So what does hidden mean? It means that when the user who is doing the visualizations are not going to be able to see the column. The column is available in data module, but not in exploration where I use the data source. In my data module, I can still define the calculations with that column, but the column itself won't be visible to the user. Why would you want to hide columns? Well, sometimes it could be customer sensitive information, like customer name, etc. Oh, I cannot display the content of insurance file. Why? Because it's a data file, right? It's a CSV. This is not a data module. So to see the content, you would either have to do the data exploration and see the data being visualized, right? Or you need to create a data module, okay? So I cannot just look at the content of insurance.csv because what it is, it's a file. It's a flat CSV file, okay? I hope I answered the question. This one is I created the data module. Now, what is this? See this? It says new data module because I didn't name my file. And the asterisk means that I have not saved the latest change. I need to save it, right? So how do I save my data module? See this floppy disk over here? I'm gonna click on save. And I'm just gonna say claims and weather data module. Oh, see this, there is something called type ahead. It knows that in the past, on this account, I've saved it as claims and weather data module. But wait a minute, why do you think save button is grayed out? Because I'm where right now? I'm in a team content. I need to select my content. Then save button will be enabled. You can only save to my content. All right? So right now there is no asterisk. It's because I saved it, right? I saved the file. So that's it. The latest change was saved. Now, when you see it here, the column names you can see also right here. And to see the column properties, you can either right click on the column in here and select properties, or you can also right click on the column header. The properties that are available depend on the column data type, right? So like, for example, I want to look at the properties of total claim amount. I'm going to right click here and I'm going to click on properties, and the properties are displayed here. So what is this? First of all, this is a column label. This is what end user is going to see when they use the column for visualization. This column is visible to the user. And if I click on view or edit, it's going to tell me which column from the file, from the CSV file it is reading. So this is a column name is total claim amount. That's a column name in a data file. And this one, usage, it's a measure, it's a numerical column. Aggregate, we're going to make a change here. Aggregate, it tells us how the column is being summarized. So if I was going to look at perhaps a total claim amount by state, right? At the moment, the way it's set up, it's going to give me the sum of all claim amounts in the state. I probably want to look at the average, right? So I'm going to make a change in here, right? And this is a data type. Now, here, this is just a description. You can enter if you want comments. But then here, screen tip is in visualization. If you hover over the column, you can see the screen tip. All right. Then, well, this is just advanced. Need to worry about that. But see, I changed something. And now I see asterisk next to the file name because my latest change was not saved. So I'm gonna click on this floppy disk to save. But what do you see here? Those are the undo redo buttons. You can undo up to, I believe it's up to 20 changes. Okay, but now we're gonna click save, save, come on. Okay, how do I know that I saved it? There is no asterisk, it's gone, right? So I can close my properties. Let's go back to slides. I know it's a lot to cover, but just bear with me, right? So that one is a properties. That one just spells out elements of data module where you have the data, you have the column name, and the columns have properties, right? In general, the data module could have multiple data sources, but for this course, ignore the relationship tab. We're not gonna be doing multiple tables, okay? You're gonna be working straight with a single data module. I showed you how to save, right? So far so good, right? I showed you the column general properties. There are different properties. Usage is based on column data type. So it could be identifier. Identifiers are used for the grouping or for summarizing, right? Measure, it's a numeric data. Then just general attribute, it's a text column. It's not an identifier, not a measure, right? Some columns are just a text column. You can aggregate is how the column is being summarized. And I made a change for total claim amount. I made it to be average. And if I change it in data module, I don't need to worry about changing it in data explorations and in the dashboards everywhere where I use this data source, right? So, and data type is usually inherited from the source. So what I use the source, what was my source? The CSV file, right? That's what I used as a source. Now we're gonna talk about the data preparation. What is a data preparation? We add some filters. We can hide some columns from the view, as I showed you earlier. We can edit, we can change some column properties. You can handle the missing values. So you saw there are some missing values. There are multiple ways to handle it in general. You can filter rows with missing values. There is something called the imputation. You can replace the missing value with an average. Well, of course, there is a problem with that because the data becomes skewed, but I'm just telling you in general what can be done. You can hide the column if most of the values are missing, or you can treat the missing values as a separate category. Like, for example, if you're looking at the oxygen type, right? And the oxygen type is missing, you can treat all missing oxygen types as unknown. Handling outliers, adding some calculations, data groups, and navigation paths. Well, what you need to keep in mind is that Cognos may do some data preparation for driver analysis and decision trees, but it does not automatically prepare data for most of the visualizations, right? So for most of the visualizations, you do need to do some data preparation ahead of times, right? Because for things like missing values, it's a bit unclear what it's gonna do. Sometimes it's gonna treat them as a separate category, but it's gonna put null in visualization. That's not something we're gonna show to the user, right? Etc. So it's better when we do the data preparation in advance than asking Cognos to do something behind the scene for us, right? So I showed you how to hide the column, right? I showed you can do it in the properties. Alternatively, What you could also do is you can right click on a column header or on a column name here. And you see here there's an option to hide from users. Remove is going to delete the column. Hide is not going to delete the column, but it's just going to hide from user's view. You don't want to remove the column if the column is used somewhere in the calculations, right? So you want to hide it. Like, for example, sometimes you don't want to see the customer ID, you would hide it. Just an example, okay? Or do you see this country is United States, right? There's nobody outside the United States, you could hide it, all right? And or if there was a column that tracked somebody's social security number, you want to hide that because it's a personal identifying information. Okay, so hiding a column, so far so simple, right? Now we're going to talk about the filters. What's a filter? Filter specifies the condition that must be met for the row to stay, right? If row does not meet the specified condition, it will be omitted. To define a filter, we build an expression, and we may use the operators, right? So you may use the existing functions and operator to define the filter. You may define the filter at the table level, or it can be defined based on specific column values. It's possible to define more than one filter on the same data. Then there are two types of filter. Embedded filter is applied to data right away. So we defined it, and the data rows that don't match the filter condition will be filtered out immediately. Selectable filter is a filter that we define, but we apply it when needed. We don't apply that filter right away, but it's there. Like, for example, suppose that you want to look at the personal vehicle of the small size a lot. Instead of defining that filter every time you want to use it, you're going to define it once in the data module and then just use it. Okay, I hope it makes sense. I'm going to show you an example. Okay, so I just spelled out how to do it, but suppose that I know that a lot of my data is missing data if there is a column called effective to date, and a lot of my data are missing data in another column when effective to date is missing. So suppose that what I want to do is I want to filter out all rows where my effective to date column is missing data. See this? I noticed that if effective to date is missing, usually there's no education, no coverage, and no response value, right? So what I want to do is I want to filter out those rows altogether. So how can we do that? There are multiple ways to do it. I can just do, well, I can just click on effective to date and select filter, or I can just go here, right? So this is the source, and I can just go to properties, and I can click on manage filters from there, right? I can just click manage filters. See these filters, and I'm gonna click on manage filters, but instead of select column, I want to do the expression editor, right? And now I'm just gonna click on add a filter. That opens up the expression editor. What do I see in here? Here are my columns in the data, right? So I need to define the expression that the row must meet to stay. So I said effective to date, right? So I'm just gonna drag effective to date. And what must happen to effective to date is not missing. So I've got my operators in here, and not missing is one of the operators. So I'm gonna just drag and drop. See this? I can drag and drop. It's not missing. There we go. Come on. Okay, effective to date is not missing. This is the expression that I specified. And if you click here, there is a validate. Validate is going to check for the syntax error. If there is syntax error, then it's not going to pass, right? It's going to give me the error in here. Now, what we have to do here, we have to use the descriptive name. right? So effective to date is not missing, right? I'm gonna call it like this. Effective to date is not missing. That's a filter name. What I'm gonna do next, I need to click on OK to save the filter. There we go. So now if I go back and if I look at my effective to date column, you see this? I don't have any more values. I don't have any more rows missing a value in here, right? I did not take care of all missing values in my data. I know income still has some missing values, right? Because I did not say anything about income. At the moment, I just filtered the rows that missing effective to date. So this is an embedded filter because the filter is applied immediately. And what I forgot to do is I have to save, right? I need to save my work at all times, right? Now what I do, there is another type of filter that is called selectable filter, right? So I'm gonna click on a filter here. This is gonna be the selectable filter. And what I'm going to say right now is this. I want the, okay, so it's in here, right? We did embedded one. We're gonna do selectable one, selectable. So I want to see, I want to have policy type contains personal, all right? So I need to find my policy type in here. If I don't see the column right away, I'm gonna type it like this, policy type, right? I'm gonna drag and drop in here, and I'm gonna say contains, and then I have to put this in quotes personal, right? Personal. So what does it mean? That the value of policy type contains the word personal, right? Then I want to put a second condition, and the second condition is vehicle size contains small, okay? So now I want to look for my column, vehicle size, and vehicle size contains, I can type the operator name or I can drag and drop the operator, okay? It contains small, right? And it's case sensitive, okay? But this type of filter won't be applied immediately because it's selectable. It's going to be applied whenever I choose to use it in my visualization, right? So here, I'm going to just name it as a personal coverage for small cars, okay? If I don't name it descriptively, I'm going to have a problem when I get to data exploration, right? There will be no way to know how this is defined, okay? Now what I need to do, very important, I need to validate. I need to make sure that the expression is valid. Otherwise, my entire data module is going to be broken, right? Then there is something that you might like. It's called prettify. It's just going to format the expression to make it look nice, right? Next, what I need to do is I need to save. But if you look at it, if you look at the data, I didn't really filter the small, right? I did not filter the data. It did not apply right away. Do you see this? I still have a policy personal. Why did not apply? Policy type. Why did not remove personal? It's because it's a selectable filter. It's going to be applied when I choose to, okay? And if you notice here, it shows in here right above the columns. Okay, so this is about the selectable filter. The filter that you are going to apply as you have to. It's not applied immediately, okay? Now, I mentioned earlier that it's possible to fill in the missing values with column average. That's what we're gonna do next, right? And I spelled out the steps for you. But I'm going to find in here the column called income. This is the income, right? And I'm gonna go to column properties and I'm going to edit the expression here. What is expression? Expression tells me what column I'm reading from the original file. So what I'm gonna do in here, I'm gonna put this is called the construct. In here construct, And it's gonna be, I'm gonna use if then else. And the if condition, I'm gonna say this: if income, the condition is income is missing, right? Is missing, me, then, oh, see this? It's type ahead. It tells me. Then I'm gonna take what? Average, right? Average. You can drag and drop the function, or you can type ahead if you know. And average is gonna be what? Income. I need to make sure that I get the column name correct, right? So if it's missing, then I'm gonna take the column average. Otherwise, I want to keep income as is, right? And I delete this. So now what I have to do, I have to validate, right? So validate, it's valid. And I want to make it readable. This one, prettify, okay? All good? What I just did was I just said if it's missing, then it's gonna set to average. So now I'm gonna click on OK and then save, okay? What did it say? You don't believe Cognos account? A Cognos account was created for everybody, okay? There will be no email sent to you, okay? Your Cognos ID is the first portion of your email, okay? If it's msmith@student.umgc.edu, right? If it's your email, then msmith is your Cognos ID. And everybody's password is the same. It's in the slides, okay? Cognos account was created for you. And if you believe it has not, then, well, then I need to know how you try to log in, okay? You need to know how, okay, if you believe it's that, then email, okay? Then submit a ticket and I'm gonna take a look, okay? Okay, submit a ticket of what you tried. And again, I'm gonna take a look, okay? If you believe your account was not created, I'll take a look at it after the session. Okay, but I did create accounts for everyone. And again, if anybody was enrolled into the course late, then I need to know, because the data was exported on as of Friday. So if you were registered for the course after Friday, which I believe should not happen, then let me know, okay? Now, so here it is. I showed you how to do that, but I'm gonna take a look at it. No worries. Okay, so this is how to fill the missing value with a column average. Okay, now what? Calculation. What is a calculation? It's just an expression. So we can add new columns, and a new column can be an expression from existing column. So let's just add a column here. Let's say I have something called monthly, right? I have a monthly premium. And what if I want to do annual premium? Well, I can just I can click here and I can say create calculation, right? I can do it this way. Create calculation. I want to use the calculation editor, and I'm gonna say here, let's say it annual, annual premium, annual premium auto, and it's gonna be equal to monthly times 12, okay? It's gonna be like this. And I will always have to validate, and I'm gonna save it. Click OK, save it, okay? Let me see, what's the question? Yes, I'm going to pause the recording, definitely. And I'm gonna pause the slides, okay? You're gonna have this recording of this session, okay? Yes, no worries. You have the recording and the slides after. What I'll do is I'm gonna send it to professor, and the professor is gonna pause this, okay? No worries. And I'll take care. If you believe your account was not created, I mean, it's very easy to fix, okay? Now, so let's take a look at the slide. So that's calculation, right? You have the functions, you can use multiple functions, etc. All right. And what we just did was, this is called embedded calculation. Why is it embedded calculation? Because you see here, I added a column and the value is stored with each row. So this is called embedded. There is also something called standalone calculation. Suppose that I want to track, for some purposes, I want to track the overall average, right? Overall average of income. Then what would I would do? I would click right here. I would click calculation here. Then what I need to do is, I'm going to type function that I want to use, average, right? But here, I would not type the column name itself. I would go here instead, and I would drag and drop the column name. So let's see, let me see. If I want to do like overall average income, right? So I have to take that and I can drag and drop here. But watch what's gonna happen. What is this? This is the name of the tab in a file. So there is a file that I use to create the data module. See, this is a CSV file, and this is the name of the tab in a file, and that's a column name in not CSV, in that Excel file. In this case, it was Excel, right? So now what? I need to do validate. Always validate the expression. Okay, click OK. And what's now? Take a look at this. Oh, it saved C income for some reason. And I can always edit the calculation, right? I can edit it and I can rename it, right? Let's say I can always rename it, okay? I'm gonna click OK to save. See, so this is the embedded calculation. It's gonna be displayed right here, right above this here. See? Right below navigation path and right above the Excel or whatever data source file name. Okay? Remember two calculations, standalone and embedded. Embedded stores data in each row. All right. Now I showed you how to do the standalone calculation, right? There is something called the data group. Data group is nothing but binning. Well, when you start looking at the decision trees, you will see that Cognos, it's going to bin the data for you by default for numeric columns. But you can also create your own binning. So let's say I want to bin something like number of policies. So you can create the data group and it will be added as a separate column. The default number of bins is 5. Well, to better give you an explanation of data group is, let's look at your grades as an example. When you submit your assignment, you're going to be getting the numeric grade, right? 85%, 90%, etc. But when it comes to binning, when your grade is submitted to academic record, the instructor does not submit like 95 or 80. The instructor will submit the letter grade. So perhaps all your 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, something like that, right? So we want to be able to define a binning here like that, right? So let's say I want to look at the number of policies, for example, right? This one, and I want to create the data group. So I click here and I can say create data group. It's going to add another column. By default, it's going to be called number of policies group. So what is, if it's above 8, then this is a label. It's going to show 8 or above. If it's between 8 and 6, this is a label that it's going to show, right? So this will be a label, right? You're going to see the label instead of actual value. See that then by default, the number of bins is 5. I can change it here. I can make more or less, and I can also change the boundaries if I wanted to, okay? But usually it's going to look at the frequencies. It's going to look at the frequencies of values. Equal frequency binning. That's what it's called. there is an equal width, right? When it attempts to make the intervals of equal size, but in this case, it's applying equal frequency. All right. So now I'm just gonna click on what? Create. It's gonna add another column, and it's always gonna add that column to the front. See this? So this is a group for numeric. Group for categorical columns work a little bit differently. It does not specify the categories for you. You will have to specify the categories. Like for example, suppose that I have this policy here, and I want to create a column called policy group. So how do I do that? I can click here and I can say create data group, but in this case, the values are text, right? So what I need to do is I have to create my own groups. I can click on new group and then I can name that group as what? Corporate, right? Corporate. So this is a group name. Over here, I have values that that column has. I select my group and I select the values, right? What that I want to add to my group. There we go. But at some point, if I added the values that I don't want to be there, I would need to select that value and click on this minus sign. That will remove the value from the group, okay? Now I want to create a new group, and I'm gonna call it personal, okay? Personal. And I'm going to add values in there. I'm gonna click here, I'll click here, and to add, oops, click, and I use the shift key to select, okay? Like this. That added to personal, and then another group is, I'm gonna call it special, okay? And then you can also specify what you want to do with the values that are in the future, right? Like in the future, you may have values that are different from what you have now. So that's what it says here. But anyways, let's do this one now. Shift, and we're gonna go to here. So I took care of all the values, and I'm gonna click on create. So that created what? The data group, and it always gonna add the column here in the front, right? And if I wanted to, I could do something like edit data group. See, edit data group takes me to this window. But I could also view the expression for the data group. I don't recommend to view the expression. This is a code that Cognos wrote for me. I did not need to write the code, but if you're advanced, if you want to look at this, okay. But see this, it's saying that when the values are this, then this. See, it writing the if then else statements for me in here, okay? But for the numerics, this is more complicated. It's writing the code, you don't need to worry about writing the code, okay? That's what basically it does. So now, we talked about the data groups, right? For the continuous column, and we talked about the data groups for the text values, right? This is a text value. Next thing is a navigation path. So suppose that I have some visualizations that I want to drill down. For instance, I want to look at the number of claims by the state, and then I want to look at the number of claims per location within the specific state. So what you have to do, you have to create a hierarchy. And you may define multiple hierarchy in the same data. But let's look at the easier example. Perhaps I wanted to look at the grade for assignment 1 overall, data 605, right? Then I want to look the grade by assignment 1 per semester. Then I want to drill down and look at the grade per session, etc., right? Or another example could be looking at the data by years and look at the data by months within a year, and then look at the data by date within a month, right? Then by hours within a date, etc. So you want to create some navigation paths at a hierarchy. So let's create one hierarchy in here. How do we do that? We're gonna go to this navigation path here and click on the plus to create the new one. Then I'm going to select the columns. And in my case, I want to use the state, right? here, and I want to use the location code, right? And if I don't see the column, I can always search for it here. But I just found it. By default, it's gonna the column, the name of the navigation path, it's gonna be concatenation of the column names. All right, this is by default. So now I'm just gonna click OK. And when we get to data exploration, I will show you how to use it. But for right now, it's here, see? It's a navigation path. But we need to get into, again, we need to get into data explorations, and I'll show you what we do with this. Okay? So here comes data exploration. What is data exploration? It's a workspace where it allows you to explore your data, basically. It's not something that you're going to present to your manager, but it's for you to get some insight about the data. All right? We're going to be using data module as a source for the data exploration, but what you'll need to keep in mind is that if you reopen the data module later on, if you make additional changes to data module, you will need to reopen the data exploration to see the changes, okay? So for right now, I'm just gonna close. And see what I meant by closing all the files? So if I was going to stop working, I would need to close this. See, like here, if I click here, it's gonna show me what I have open. Before logging out, you would need to close this, okay? But now I'm closing it because I want to use it to create the data exploration. So see this? This is a claims and weights of data module. What I need to do, how do I create the exploration workbook? I like to do this way. I like to click here and select here, create exploration. Of course, you can go here and click new and select exploration from here. You can do it, but then you would have to specify the data that you use as a source. So for me, it's easier to do it this way. I just go here. I know that this is the data I want to use as a source. I just go here, create exploration. See, that's it. And it's gonna know it. This is my exploration file. See this? If I click here, it picked up the correct data as a source, okay? So this is exploration. This is the starting point. What is the starting point? It lists me the columns that I might be interested to use for analysis, okay? So I know that, I just know in this data, you want to look at the total claim amount, right? So I'm gonna select it as a starting point, total claim amount. What I'm gonna see right now. This is a diagram, and in this network diagram, my field of interest that I just selected is going to be shown as a dark blue circle. The remaining circles, purple circles, are other columns that have some kind of relationship with my total claim amount. The line represents the relationship, and the line thickness is the relationship strength. So if I hover over the line, I can see that, for example, the relationship between location code and total claim amount is 67%. So here it only shows me right now, at the moment, I'm looking at only direct relationships between the column of interest and other columns, right? What you also see on this side, those are the suggested visualizations that you might be interested in based on the column of interest. So right now, if I selected this one here, total claim amount, it says that I might be interested in looking at the drivers, and we're going to talk about the drivers. I might be interested in looking at the average. So right here, what you could do is you can click on add, and that adds the visualizations to your cards. Cards is a set of visualizations inside your data exploration, okay? I just add it. You can add this, you can add visualization from suggested visualizations. They're just starting points, right? Or what you could also do is you can select two columns. Like for example, I selected this and this, right? Oops, I select this and I need to use the control key to select this two. And it's gonna change the visualizations based on the two columns that I have selected. Do you see that? So those are the suggested starting visualization. That's what it means, okay? Now I'm trying to unselect it. And I'm going to show you something else. First of all relationships that have a strength under 10% are omitted. It only shows the relationship with 10% strength or more. All right? Now, what you could also do is this. You can add a diagram to show the secondary relationship. What is this? Secondary relationships are relationships among other columns, not just between columns and column of interest. Like see here, there is a relationship between marital status and employment status. See, those are called secondary relationship. Okay? So that's what you can do. And here you can use the slider. You can change the strength of the relationship to display. But in general, everything under 10% is omitted. Okay? I just uncheck. And at any time, if you're looking at other visualizations, to go back to this visualization, you can click here to open cards, and you're going to click on this card. That will take you back to this diagram, okay? Just know that. What else do you see here? Those are the undo, redo. Now here, why does it say new exploration? Because I have not saved my work. How do I save my work? I click on the floppy here. I'm saving it in my content. And let's say I want to save it as claims and weather data exploration. Oh, see it, it's type ahead. It remembers that in the past I had file with this name for past semester demo. Okay, so now I'm gonna click on save. What's gonna happen? I save my file, right? See that? If you look at it here, it shows us this is a standalone calculations that we created, right? We have our navigation path. We have our columns, right? The data groups. We have uh, this one, annual premium auto, which is a calculation column. But what is this? This is a selectable filter. If I did not use the descriptive name, there is no way in the world to know how it was defined, right? If I did not use the name that makes sense, there is no way to know what it is without going back to data module, okay? So this is the reason I used the descriptive name, so that in here, I know how I defined it, right? Of course, I can always add additional navigation paths and additional calculations in here, but then those will be available only in this data exploration. If I was going to create another data exploration with the same data source, I will not be able to see any calculations that I create in here, okay? I hope that makes sense. So let's go here. All right, I talked about this diagram. All right, I spelled it out for you. Now, this is just this one I'm just talking about the data source. And the same as in data module, each column name has an icon, and icon indicates the column data type, right? So you have a non-calculated column that comes straight from the data source, and you have some of the columns that where we define the calculations back in a data module, right? Remember, the standalone and embedded. Embedded, the value stored is with every row, all right? This is how to save the exploration, and I just showed you how to save. And remember, save button is grayed out until you select my content, because you cannot save anything to the team area, all right? Explorations interface. So basically, when you create a new, I'm going to the card right now, right? And I'm gonna, I can do this. I can just click here and I can select the visualization type, right? So how do I do that? I can click here, choose type, and then I just select my visualization type, right? So perhaps I want to do this, let's do this one, the tree mob that shows part of the whole. Now what? I need to specify, this calls the data slots, right? Data slot, it means that I must specify something to see my visualization. If I don't specify anything, I cannot see my visualization. So those are the fields that I use to build visualization. I must specify the hierarchy, and in this case, I'm gonna use this one, the hierarchy, right? The state in here. This is gonna be my hierarchy, and my size is gonna be the number of customers. So I need to select something called the customer ID. It's gonna do the count on customers for the size, okay? So the size is a relative number, it's a number of customers. So see here? So what do I see in here? This is a visualization type. I chose trim up. This is related, so if I wanted to, I could I could check, I could select another visualization that is related to what I'm looking at, right? I can add this visualization to the pins. Pins is visualization set aside. We're going to be using them later in the course. So basically, it allows you to reuse this visualization in the dashboard, but we're not going to do it right now. But just know what pins are, right? You can delete it, you can make a copy, etc. So this one, 2 out of 2 means that you have 2 visualization cards, and this is a second card in a workbook. You can add a new card. Those are the undo redo button, and this is the save button. Always save. Now, what else? I'm gonna click here and it's gonna show me the data that is being visualized. So this one, something important. If I go here to my customer, and if I check the summarize, see this what it's doing? It's doing count distinct. So in this case, it's counting the number of claims per state. You know why? Because the same customer can have multiple claims. So count distinct is going to count a customer once. All right. Oops, it's going to count a customer once. I'm sorry. It's not the number of claims, it's number of customers, because it's going to count distinct the number of customers. But if I wanted to count the number of claims, I would just change to the count, okay? So again, count is going to count the number of claims. Count distinct is going to count the number of customers. Do you know why? Because each customer can have multiple claims, right? So here I'm just looking at number of customers, okay? Just knows it. And okay, so I'll just select the summarize. The only options that are available here is count and count distinct. Okay. Now, what else I could do? Let's minimize this. Earlier, did I mention that it's a hierarchy? So this is my state Missouri. Take a look. I right click on the Missouri and there is an option to drill down. What is this? It's showing me the locations, right? Suburban, rural. Thus, it will show me the number of customers by location inside that state. So if I click here, the state is Missouri, and here it's just telling me the number of customers for each location code within the state. So that's what hierarchy does, okay? And I could define multiple level and then drill through in my visualizations. I hope it makes sense, right? And I can go back. I just go here and I'm gonna click back. That goes back to original one, okay? So that's how you use hierarchy. And I'm kind of like showed you this interface and how to use hierarchy at the same time, right? And then you can click on details and it gives you details about the visualization, all right? Not much analytics in this case, but this is just the details. Please do not copy and paste this into your paper, but try to summarize in your own words. If you copy and paste, trust me, it will be code, okay? Use your own words when you explain stuff. And if you want to go back to visualization card, you click here, right? Data source, click here. Okay? And of course, you can see the related visualizations to visualizations that you're currently looking at. It's a lot of information, so trust me, you will have to watch this recording more than once, okay? So it just shows you multiple ways to you add visualization. You can add, as I showed you before, from suggested starting point. You may explicitly choose visualization type. You may use assistant, which I'll show you, or you may drag and drop fields. You can do related visualization, etc. There are multiple ways, right? But this is a drill down example that I just showed you. Okay. Now there is a very important visualization here called spiral model. So let's just do create new, choose, and I'm gonna choose it's under the advanced analytics. It's under here, and it's a spiral. So, but at the moment, why I don't see anything? Because I have to specify the target. In this case, I'm looking at the total claims amount. So I'm just gonna drag and drop my total claims amount right here. What does it shows me? It shows me the columns or a set of columns that can drive my total claim amount. Uh, each column or set of columns driver is represented here as a pin. Blue pins means that the driver is a one-way driver, single column. If it's a red pin, it means a two columns, two-way driver, and then this one, green one, it means multiple columns. So let's uncheck this and let's look at one-way driver. This is very important. Why is it important? Because the driver with the highest predictive strength, it will be the column that is used first for the split. When we do decision tree, the column that is used for the first split is a one-way driver with the strongest predictive strength. So see here, in this case, is location code. The closer the pin to the center, the stronger is the predictive strength, all right? And we have like two-way drivers, and we have the combination. But secretly, combination is gonna be what? That's gonna be the decision tree. We're gonna be looking at the decision tree shortly, right? But in here, unfortunately, there is no way to visualize this, right? There's no way. But what you can do here, you just click and it's going to give me the predictive strength, right? That's all that it does. But there is another way to look at it. This is what I call bullseye diagram sliced, the drivers. So I'm going to add a new card again. And oh, actually, maybe I already added. I don't need to do it. So let's delete. Let's go back to card because earlier, remember, I added the driver analysis. I added the card. So just click here. What is this? Again, each circle or a pin, whatever you want to call it, is a driver, right? So you have one-way drivers, you have a two-way drivers, and multiple. So if you have a combination of columns, that has a higher predictive strength than any combination of the two columns or any one-way driver, that means that you have what? Decision tree, right? Sometimes it's not possible to build a decision tree when the combination, see that here, the whole idea is that you have a combination of columns with a higher predictive strength than a single column or a two-column combination, see? Then for each driver, you could click on it and you can look at the visualization for each one. For each driver that you select, it's going to give you the visualization, and you can add this visualization card to your visualizations. All right. So the visualizations that you see is based on the data types of the drivers that you're looking at. All right. So that's a visualization. But in my case, I'm going to be interested, of course, in what? The decision tree, right? We're going to talk about the decision trees. I'm going to start this topic. On the next session, we're going to continue this topic in depth, okay? But today I'm just going to touch it a little bit. So I'm going to add this. And let's see what this is. The whole idea is this. So I have my data, right? I know my location. I know the type of car that I'm driving, right? I know the type of insurance, so I have the information, and I want to be able to use that information to estimate the total claim amount of the new car. So somehow I want to build a module that I could use to estimate the total claim amount for new cars. That's what the decision tree is gonna do, okay? Well, I know that it's too advanced, but okay, you're gonna need to watch this recording more than once. So no worries. I'm gonna just touch this topic. class, we're going to talk about the decision trees in more depth, and we're going to do more on dashboards and etc. I know it's a little bit a lot, but that's why it's called advanced. But by the time you get to it, it's going to be easy. Trust me. You're going to say piece of cake. Okay, so what is this? I have to use this full screen here. Okay, so here, all my data is represented by this node on the left-hand side. So this is all data, okay? All my data. Now what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look at the location code. And I'm gonna say, wait a minute, what location code is it? Is it rural, urban, or suburban? What location code am I at? If I'm in the urban location code, I'm gonna take this branch here. And you see this, the color code, the darkness of the color shows an estimated total claim amount. See, the darkness of the color shows the total claim amount. So the darker the color, the higher is the total claim amount. See, and those things can be collapsed. They can be expanded and collapsed. So trust me, you will have to watch it more than once. And by the time you get to this, it's gonna make more sense. First time when I saw it, it took me a while to look at it. Long time ago was the first time I saw it. Not in Cognos Analytics and something else, okay? Now, so this is location code. Based on the location code, I take the path, all right? If I hover here, it tells me the percentage of data that fall under this category, right? So like, for example, I have 19% of data that was in rural location, right? If you don't see this underline, it means that the node doesn't expand further. But if my location code is suburban, for example, right? Most of my data is in suburban. I can look at it further. I can say, okay, what is the vehicle class? Am I a two-door vehicle class? Or am I this one, the SUV, or if it's a luxury? Based on the vehicle class, I'm gonna take the path, right? Suppose that I'm driving the two-door car or four-door car. Then I'm gonna go take this path here. Then I'm gonna look at my coverage. What is my coverage? Okay, suppose that my coverage is this one, basic. If my coverage is basic, I have to keep going. Then what is my marital status? I'm single. So now what I'm gonna do, that's it. I cannot expand this anymore. So now, see this? This is a rule. This is the rule. If location code is suburban, if vehicle class is either two-door or four-door car, and then if coverage type is basic, and if the person is single, this is an average total claim amount. See that? I can hover and see the average. Also, I can look at these color codes, right? See this color code tells me the average total claim amount. See, this is approximate total claim amount that I should expect if my record meets this condition. So you will traverse the tree from left to right, okay? That, well, later on, when you see it multiple times, you're gonna say it's simple, trust me. Now, rural does not expand anymore. So I should say, if somebody is from rural location, their claim amount is about $76, something like that, right? Then if somebody is from suburban, I'm gonna go here. Then I'm gonna see what in the vehicle class, and suppose that I'm driving the luxury. There are only 3% of data for the luxury car, but if it's not frequent, it does not mean that it's unimportant, right? So I click here, then, oh, wait a minute, if I'm unemployed, oh, this is my total average total claim amount. Whoa, it's more than $1,000, see? But wasn't it like, yeah, see this? The dark code means higher. You can look at it this way, right? So this tells you, visualizes the rules. Sunburst does not show the rules explicitly. It shows the percentage of data to which the rules applies. See this? Most of the data is for suburban location. See that? But if you see this dark line, it means that that slice is expendable. So here, this is just the average total claim amount for suburban, right? This is for the urban. Oops, here, yes, and this is rural, see? $109, not 76. Sorry, I made a mistake earlier. That's a deviation. $109. This is average, okay? Okay, now take a look at this. I can click here. It's gonna show me the next split, right? And I'm gonna look at it. See, this is, we know location is suburban. And then if it's a two-door car, see, it shows me part of the data, percentage of the data where location is suburban and the car is either two or four-door. See, so this visualization shows the percentage of data to which the rule applies. And here it actually shows the actual rules. So if I keep expanding here, the sunburst will expand at the same time. All right? Then there is another representation here as actual rules. So that shows me that if it's a suburban location and this is a vehicle, right, and the coverage type, if my record matches this condition, expect this predicted value. That's what it is, all right? I know it's a little bit hard, but I touched this topic a little bit. We're gonna do more in the next class. We're gonna have another class on week 6, okay? And look forward to announcement. Okay, so we did that. Now another topic is the assistant. So let's go away from this full screen. I chose full screen to better show the tree. Otherwise, it's hard to see. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go create new card. But first, let's go to assistant. See this guy here? You can use this guy from the home page, but I prefer to use it from here. Why? Because it will automatically know that I want to analyze this data. Okay, if I use it from the home page, it will analyze all data that I have access to, and sometimes it runs into memory problems. So I'm just going to do this like this. What it shows here, this shows you to get started. You can see the suggested questions about the data, or you can even create dashboard from this assistant, which we're not going to do at the moment. But what it also does is that it shows for this data set that you're currently looking at, you can click on show more, and it shows you a bunch of fields in this data. You can click on specific field, like see this, it shows you here the data types, right? Here, I can click on this field and see more details about this specific field. So that shows you some interesting fields related to total claim amount. And I know that location code is related to total claim amount. I'm going to click on that. And this will give me visualizations. See that? So I can click through. There are different visualizations that I can select from, right? And then if there is a visualization that I want to use, I'm going to drag and drop these visualizations here. See that? That's one way to add visualization. I can just drag and drop it from Assistant. What you also could do is you could ask questions about your data. But suppose that I'm not sure what to ask. This is a type, starting, suggested questions, okay? When I type suggested questions, it's just gonna give me some examples, some samples that I want to look at. For example, what can impact average income, right? So I can just run this. See, that gives me fields that can impact average income. But if I wanted to do something like that, I could say what can impact, and I can type a different column name, right? What can impact, let's say, something like claim amount. I can type this, right? See, and it's gonna answer. Another good thing about it is that it supports some synonyms. Like, for example, if you go here, what is the top, right? Oh, here it's not, but if I do it, what is the total? What is it? Like, for example, I can type something like that. What is the highest claim amount, right? Right, this should give me highest claim amount, right? Oops. Oh, it's an aggregated field. Okay. Okay, so but I can do something like what is the top claim amount? And then if I type highest claim amount, it's gonna give me the same thing, right? So let's go back to the suggested question. What can impact, right? But instead of impact, I can say influences and it's gonna understand it. See, I can use synonym. What influences, in, what influences, uh, total, what impacts, right? Influences, total claim amount, right? I can type this. What influences total claim amount? And I can also say what impacts total claim amount. It's gonna understand it. That's what I mean by synonyms. Or for example, total, what are the top tens, what are the highest tens? It's gonna understand the synonyms. And here you've got some of the insights, etc., right? So for the assistant, I put some slides in there, some examples, and I also have a couple videos on assistant, but I do recommend that you use it from exploration, okay? So this is a driver, we talk about drivers, but in the next session, right, we're gonna be talking more about these decision trees. But those are some of the slides that I put for you on embedded assistant. You can use it from the home page, but the problem is when you use it from the home page, it will analyze all data that you have access to, which is kind of hard because if you have access to a lot of data, it can cause some memory issues. I recommend that you use it from exploration straight. Then it knows what data you're analyzing and you save yourself a lot of time, okay? But there is one thing that I forgot to show you in this visualization. What you could do is there is something called you could see there is something called the show, not show drivers, but it's possible to edit scope. You can change edit scope. It shows you which columns are used for analysis. You can remove some columns if you don't want it to be used for analysis, or you can add a column that's not used. But if you see that asterisk, it means that the column is recommended to be used for analysis, okay? So it says 26, maximum is 250, okay? But please do not worry much about the decision tree at the moment. Well, there might be some questions in a earlier assignment, but you're gonna get in more depth for that in a next session. So next one is gonna cover week 6, 7, and 8, right? This one covers up to week 5. But there are a few more important slides about few more important things about the trees. So each leaf node at, on the right, those nodes all the way to the right, they're called leaf nodes or terminal nodes. They might be based on more than 25 rows. The tree cannot have more than 36 nodes, just know that. Or basically, what is a node? It's a set of statistically similar records, right? The branch is a decision rule. The algorithm is gonna find the set of optimal predictors. And I'm gonna talk in more depth next time, okay? I just wanted to give you a brief introduction. I know I lost some of you, but please don't worry about it. Well, this is just some examples, okay? Oh, there is another thing that I need to show you, is a comparison card that allows you to compare. Like here is an example. Suppose that I have this total claim amount by location code. What I could do is I could click on create comparison, right? And then I select this one, right? This is one way. I want to add the comparison card. So this is my comparison card. And now what I can do is I can select this visualization, and I can add another column as a filters. Like on one of them, suppose that I want to look at males on one and the females on the other, right? Maybe the average total claim amount is different whether I'm a male or female, right? Who knows? So let's do that. Let's see, I'm gonna go to what? Oops. I need to go into the data and I'm gonna find if it's a gender, right? It's gender. I'm gonna go drag and drop gender into the the filter. I have to go all the way down. Oops. Maybe it's easier to first scroll down to the filters area and then drag and drop. Let's see, let's find it again, gender, right? Gender. Okay, if I don't see it, look what I do. I type it here and it finds it. Gender, and I want to do male. Done. Now I select this one here, and I'm also gonna put gender, and I want to do, that one was a female, right? This one is gonna be a male. Done. And see here, I want to just compare. Not much of a difference, but this is how you would do it, the comparison. All right. And this is just show me the minimum, maximum, and average. So column A, this is for the females and this is for males. That's the comparison part, okay? I hope that makes sense. I forgot to show you that. Well, each time when I run a session, each session is different. Sometimes I show something that I didn't show last time. Sometimes I forget to show something that I showed last time, which is interesting, right? Okay. You're gonna love this slide. There is a set of videos that I created for you. And each time I keep adding more, usually, okay? So how this was started, some of them started as a question from student. Then the answer was, it's hard to write out the answer, it's easier to show the answer. Then I created the video, and then I said, okay, wait a minute. Maybe it will help to share the video with the rest of the students. And I created a playlist and I kept on adding it. So I had the whole list for earlier version, when we use earlier version of the Cognos. Then when we upgraded to the version 12, I ended up updating some of the videos, recording them again, okay? Because this interface is different from earlier version. Okay, now your turn to speak. Questions? If you believe that your account does not exist, then please do submit the ticket, okay? I believe somebody in the chat mentioned that they are unable to access, right? Well, yes, I know it's too advanced, but okay, I don't mean to lose anybody today, but okay, I'm gonna copy. I need to copy the name. One person. Okay, I'm gonna look into the account. I'm gonna look into the Jeremiah. I'm sorry, I'm bad at names. I'm horrible at pronouncing names, but I'll take a look at it. How to submit the ticket? Okay, I'm gonna show you now. Okay, yes, and for the link to the videos, the instructors, I believe they posted the videos, and the link is also in the slides. You're gonna get it. But how, yes, this is excellent question. So let me show you how to submit the ticket. So I'm gonna go to the classroom again, and I'm logged into the classroom as a student, right? So and if you log in as a student, you're gonna go to, there is a section called Help with Virtual Lab, help with here. See this? There is a section here. They put it under Virtual Lab environment. There is a section, help. You're gonna click here, Salesforce case. Over here, very important, case type, you're gonna select UMGC Virtual Lab. And please do not call the help desk, UMGC help desk, because they have a different ticketing system, and it's going to take 2 business days for the ticket to get to correct people. Okay, correct people are me and Mike. Okay, so you're gonna select this one, virtual lab. Then here you're gonna put your, see, this is your student, right? This case subtype, this is a data analytics, graduate data analytics. This one, subtype detail, just go ahead and choose other issues. We're gonna categorize it for you. So then here, you're gonna select the program is a graduate data. Here, very important to select the correct course, because if you select the wrong course, the ticket is gonna go to different TA. Then you're gonna put your assignment and etc., right? The assignment that the session, right? And your assignment, your first name, last name, make sure that you put an email that is the one that you check. Because if you put an email that you don't check, an email that does not exist in your records, then, not a problem, right? Describe your issue as much as you can. Like, what did you try to do? And what are you getting instead? And here you can attach up to 5 files. So if you're getting an error, attach, please. And also this ticketing system is good for things like how do you use the software to do something, to do specific task. So please submit those questions because they sometimes end up in a useful video for other students. Like, for example, how would I use the software to create this and this calculation, okay? Something like that. Submit those questions. And once we figure it out, we try to create a video that could benefit all students, not just yourself, but everyone, okay? So please do post useful questions and, submit ticket. Everything needs to be tracked in a ticket, okay? And I'm gonna take a look at your account and I'm gonna check. If there is something on my end, then it's easy to fix. But another thing that I wanted to tell you, I should tell you, well, okay, first of all, I'll save it. Okay, when you log out, you're gonna close it, close everything, right? When you log in, go to the team content, right? Make sure that you see this, what I'm looking at right now. If you don't see this, then this is a very easy fix, but you need to report it. I'll fix it. If you don't see the subfolders, okay, it means that there is something that I need to do for your account because there are two things going on here. First thing is your access, right? Your username and password just to get access, to log in. And second thing is the role. So there is a certain role that you need to have to see this. So it's a very easy fix. If you don't see this, just submit the ticket and I will see that it's something that needs my attention. It's a very easy fix. All I have to do is log in as an admin, find your username, and add something to you. 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes fix. Okay? So after this, please try to log into your account and make sure you see the things in the team content. If you don't, no problem, submit a ticket, very easy, okay? Very, very, very simple fix. Okay? Any other questions for me? And I promise I will look into your account if you put the ticket in. Mike has been looking into things also and emailing people their IDs. If they don't, well, sometimes some people for some reason were confused about the login. If you're not sure, go ahead and submit a ticket and either me and Mike will tell you what your ID. We have a spreadsheet. I gave Mike, who's teaching, who's supporting help support. Also for this class, I gave him a spreadsheet with all of the account IDs for all sessions. So he can help also to tell you what your ID is. Okay? So, oh, what do you mean copy file from on a physical PC? You cannot copy. You cannot copy the file to your computer. Unfortunately, no. There is no way. The files are uploaded into Cognos. You need to do analysis in Cognos. Okay? Well, that's what it is. No worries. But some of this, there is a source of data. If you look at it, for some of this, in the description, I put the source. Okay? And I answered the question about ticket, right? So this is not only when you have an issue, it's also how do you do something in Cognos. Go ahead and submit. Okay? I hope it makes sense. And what I'll do is I'm gonna email your professor the recording and the slides. You're gonna have everything, all right? What do you mean to reference source? Oh, the source of the data, I believe I put it. I'll need to check. Okay, I'll check. So it's a big session, guys. Yes. Oh, you have two UMGC account. Oh, I see. But do you know your student ID? You need to look at the student account. That's an ID that is in the classroom. I see what's going on. Yes, some of you might have two accounts, but I can look up your ID, so no worries. Okay, so if you submit a ticket, we'll tell you your ID, no problem. But usually the way it goes, it's the first letter of your first name followed by your last name, and sometimes it could be a number. Like, see, like I'm Yelena Betinskaya, so it's gonna be Y Betinskaya and then some number if there is a number. But my last name is so unique that there is no. But for some people, there's gonna be some number. Oh, yes, something like that. Yes, yes, yes. So did you, this is the ID you used? And the password, everybody's password is, I'm gonna type it the password in here. Exclamation point in the end. Okay, did I type it? I'm gonna type it to everybody. Everyone in the meeting. This is a password. W3LCOME. Welcome. There we go. This is a password. Okay, so it's a, if it's a D Morero, then it's, see, if it's D Morero, then it's gonna be DMOR D Morero, right? What is, I'm sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing names. So it's gonna be the first part. The first part that is before a student at UMGC area. Do you see that it's you, and then welcome. So, and it's not, you mean it's incorrect? I have to look into it. I have to look into it to submit the ticket, and we're gonna look into it. Okay? Danielle, submit the ticket and we look into it, okay? Will that help? Okay. So, oh, what? Yeah, so anything else you want me to explain? No? No? Okay, then I'm gonna end the session, and please do put tickets in and I'll look, okay? Okay? So thank you all, and in 4 weeks, we're gonna have another class like this, okay? Okay, thank you. I'm gonna stop the recording.